I've modified my La Pavoni to be a lot more heat stable. It's a pre-millenium model. As you can see by the group there, it's got the wide flange hip, the narrow cylinder space up on top. The K probe you can see is wrapped around there in Velcro, and it actually sits on the very front of the group, the bottom of the inner cylinder area. The La Pavoni I've got running at 1.1 bar. Even though I'm running at that high heat, I don't have overheating problems because I've converted this group here to water-based heating. So we're heating off of the boiler-based. I did make a modification to the steam wand I'll get to here in a second. And just the valve itself, well, the tip has been changed, but that's everybody seems to do that. Monitoring is a K-type probe digital readout. Runs really good. I'm just running in Celsius. Typically, my pulls, like today, have been like 92 degrees, 92.0. I can dial it in to like 92.5 and things like that, and definitely tell a huge difference in the flavor of the coffee, so it works well. Tools that you need for the modification and parts that you need for the modification. I used a Millennium Group back of group flange. It's a screw-in flange. It's about $5 part or something like that. Chuck that up into a drill bit with a bolt into a drill, and then just filed it down till it just fit inside the group. In my case, I also put some grooves in for some O-rings, but it kept falling out of the back of the group. I did originally had the dipper tube right in the back of that and then into the group, just like a Millennium model. That proved to be after a couple of weeks, it'll fall out once, and then you got to remember to keep pushing it in once in a while. That just too much of a pain. It's definitely worth it because I can run. I run 8 shots on this, or basically 16 doubles. That's why it's called a 16. And 8 shots on this, and it works great. The temperature stability is really, really good. All I need to do is, like I said, file this down so it just fits inside the group. If you want to fit it for O-rings, that's fine too. You want as tight a fit as possible. You bore out the center here to 8 millimeters every place except for one little spot. You want that around 7.5, and that's the outside diameter, at least in my case, for this tubing. And once that tubing will fit through there nice and tightly, I use the round diamond file to go ahead and get to that measurement. Once that fits tightly, you can go ahead and make sure it fits all the way through. And then I cut out a keyway up on top, use the bastard file, use the round file to go ahead and get all the last little bits of the brass and everything out of there, get it perfectly clean. You don't want that to get up in your group, cut your seals, cause undue wear, things like that. So once you're done with that, this will screw into the back of the group just like original, but this seals the area between the boiler and the back of the group. And now the inside of the group, that lateral tubing, the lateral mount space here, and the head space up above, that will all be water heated now. And it's far more stable, far more responsive to your temperature changes. When I do one pull, it goes from, let's say I'm doing a 92 degree pull, it might go to 97, sometimes 98. So it does climb up a bit, but if I chill the portafilter, the portafilter holder there alone by itself, just drop it in cold water and then slap it in, it will typically cool it down to about 92 or maybe even 91 by the time I've ground and tamped another shot. So it works really, really well. Another mod I did was I took some silicone tubing and I slipped the silicone tubing over the end of the steam wand. One of the guys on Home Barista had talked about some silicone tips that he put on for powder coat nuts and holes and things like that. I didn't have those available, so this is 3mm inside diameter, 5mm outside diameter silicone tubing. Just slip it on, cut it to the end of the tip. It works really well. I've got like a half spin on to full and a half spin on to closed. It works really, really well. I think that's pretty much it. There's the temp probe. It's all the tools basically I needed. I used a stepped drill bit for the for boring out the Millennium Group back plug. You could use anything there. If you had a chemistry, if you had a chemistry cork or something like that, something good for flasks that would handle the heat, that would probably work fine too. So nothing really special required there. A couple of tools, the wrenches, of course, to take off the group, to take off the steam wand, and a cutter to go ahead and cut that tubing. It's not a whole lot of difficult thing there. Just take some time to go ahead and do it. Once you do it, though, you'll have a very stable group. I can lock in a temperature and walk away for at least a minute, and it still stays at that temperature. It does not climb from like 92. It'll just sit right there. So I think some of you guys might really like this.